Well, this wasn't our plan for 2024. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. And I don't really know how to say this without crying. So you'll have to excuse that it's a much shorter video this time. As you can see, we are not in Bulgaria. We are still in England.
We are. And our flight that was supposed to be taking us back out to Bulgaria was last week. We didn't get it. And the reason we didn't get it I don't even know how to say it.
So last year I had quite major surgery. When I had Ember, she was born in November, and they discovered that I had a tumour that was showing up in my hip. This was purely an accidental finding on a CT scan whilst we were in the hospital, like recovering from having her. And I was fast tracked into a referral, and basically the long and short of it is that March last year I had to have quite major surgery on my leg, where they removed I don't even know what it was called, like a mass from within my hip bone, and replaced it with a bone graft. And then I had a large metal plate with 7 screws put in. The operation took longer than they thought. There were lots of complications. My recovery was about probably double the length that it was supposed to.
Easily double, yeah.
It was a huge setback for us, because as soon as we had Ember, once we had kind of like had the first few months with her here, it was our intention to get straight over to Bulgaria. So everything was kind of delayed because of it. But eventually we managed to move over to Bulgaria last June.
Kayleigh was still struggling a lot with mobility, as you probably saw in the videos, and still in a significant amount of pain, but enough to be managed with normal painkillers, and
we felt like it was getting better.
It improved, definitely.
I went from being non-weight bearing to being on crutches to then walking by myself fairly quickly. And I was religiously doing the physio exercises that they had told me to do.
So we come back here, as you know from the last Christmas update video, Kayleigh had an appointment with the surgeon to see why she was still struggling with mobility and having more pain recently. And they've had another look, and they've basically said that they need to go back in and take the plate out, which is basically having the whole surgery again minus the bone graft. But the bone has obviously got 7 massive screws in it, and therefore will take a long time to heal as well. As you can imagine, this has turned our world upside down, because the recovery took so long last time, and as we said in our last video, we'd made huge plans for this year, and this definitely was not one of them. They're fairly confident that this will sort all the pain out and sort the mobility out and Kayleigh's limp and everything else, but our options are zero basically. Either Kayleigh has to live with the pain and the lack of mobility for what sounds like forever, or we go through this procedure again where they go in and take the plate out, and hopefully the recovery is quicker and better and Kayleigh can get back to being Kayleigh again.
I think it's very much a roller coaster. We always said when we were starting to document our life off grid, that we would document the highs and the lows. We've had a lot of lows, just like lots of people. Some bumps are bigger than others.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's not to say we haven't had the highs, because we've had some good highs too, but it does feel like, you know, when you just feel like you have a bad year or something, and then you're like, next year is going to be our year, we're going to make it happen, this. And I cannot tell you how excited we've been for this year, for 2024, and for all the stuff that we had, all the stuff that we wanted to do. And let's hope that 2024 is not another bad year, and that this is just a bump in the road at the start, and that we can make the most of it in the later part of the year. But the reality is that we're probably looking at the best part of 6 months.
And because of the climate and of the part of Bulgaria that we're in, we know that by the time we get back, the temperatures will have already started to be quite high, which means that the amount of physical work that we will do won't necessarily be possible, because we will be limited with what we can do with the temperatures.
And
we learnt that
that was very much like what happened when we first got there this last year, where we couldn't dig the grounds, we couldn't put our water pipes in, we couldn't do, the footings and stuff. So, I don't know.
Basically, there are lots. We're feeling really down at the moment. This has really knocked us, but we have been through stuff like this before. We know that we can get through it again. It is very hard, because this doesn't just involve me, it doesn't just involve Phil, it involves Alex and Ember, and also our wider family, because obviously back in England we have nowhere to live. We sold everything, and we were renting previously, so we don't have our own base here, so we are actually living between the two sets of parents. And
thank God for the grandparents again.
It looks like we'll start thinking positive now. So I'm really fortunate in that my surgery was referred as an urgent surgery. I've had the date through, which means that on the 8th of February I'm going in for the surgery. They anticipate I'll be in hospital for about 2 weeks. Then I've got at least 6 weeks non-weight bearing. So when I am discharged from hospital, I get the pleasure of living in my mum's living room again.
On a bed in the lounge.
But we are trying to see this for the opportunities that it can bring us. So whilst we are not on the land, there are lots of other things that we can do to make a positive impact, because we're only victims if we make ourselves victims.
Absolutely. There's you need time to, it's not to grieve or anything, like, let's not be too silly about it, but you need time to process and think through that we're going to do this all again, and we just have to hope that it's not as bad as last time and things will be better this time. And there is a point where you just need to go, okay, these are the cards we've been dealt.
Let's make the most of what we can do.
Let's do what we can with those cards, and do what we can to turn it into a positive where we can, which is easier said than done. And still there's some days where we're like, we just can't do this, we can't do this anymore. We are missing Bulgaria. I think we are shocked at how much we are missing it, like far more than we thought we would.
Not just Bulgaria, but I think the way of life.
The lifestyle, the way,
the way of life, and the way it made us feel. And
we were very,
particularly Alex. Alex was so free. He enjoyed being on the land and
just being himself.
And it's been very tricky for him, I think, after like being back for the Christmas and seeing with grandparents and friends and everything. Now the novelty's worn off, and he's desperate to go back. You know, he wants to go back to school. He wants to see his friends. He is so desperate because he had plans this year on the land as well.
Yeah.
And that's very hard for a 6-year-old to get their heads round. But
especially when it's not happening to him, you know.
Yeah.
He's I'm a passenger in this, but I can comprehend what's going on. He just can't, and to be fair, he's doing amazing considering.
He's a very resilient young man.
Yeah, but it is tough for him.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's going to be missing out on school. We are thinking about me heading back over at some point for a short period of time, and obviously when I do that I'll bring you guys along. There is a chance that I will take Alex on that trip too, but we're not 100% sure about that yet.
We need to do what's right for him.
Absolutely.
We are looking at me being here for a few months, because once I am weight bearing, where basically the operation goes like from the top of my thigh, top of my thigh to just above my knee, so it's quite a large incision. It goes through a lot of muscles and a lot of tendons. It's very painful. It is a long recovery. Positive mindset, Kayleigh says, we know what's coming, we know how to prepare ourselves, we know how to get through it. We've done it once, we can do it again. But it does mean that realistically we as a family won't be returning to Bulgaria for a couple of months.
Yes.
However, us being us, we have already started thinking of ways that we can educate ourselves, inspire ourselves, and get ready to go back over again. This means that we can still carry on learning our Bulgarian.
Yep.
We can still look into new and innovative ways to live off-grid. We are really hoping that we can educate ourselves more.
Absolutely. Again, we have to do
Use this as an opportunity.
what we can do with the time. The good thing is in this country, well, first of all, we speak the language, and there's a lot of people doing what we're doing, or what we're trying to do in this country. So we are wondering about maybe trying to visit some of those guys and
sharing skills.
Yeah, sharing the knowledge, sharing what they've done, how they've done things differently, their problems and challenges and stuff they've had to overcome, which no doubt will be different to ours, but it will be great to... Also, I think a lot of people think creators, like YouTubers or whatever, creators of content are against each other, like this channel versus this channel and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And actually that's not true at all. A lot of us talk to a lot of others, and channels that are far bigger than us, we're communicating with quite regularly and we get on with well. So we're thinking, why not try and showcase some of their stuff and document something. I'm also feel for you guys because I'm sure you're excited for the journey too. I know that we've had loads of really positive feedback and a lot of people wondering where we are and what's going on. And yeah, it looks like there's going to be a delay in certainly the weekly videos, that's for sure. I am planning to do what we can in the way of content, but I'm aware that nobody needs to watch the recovery process for Kayleigh and everything else. But if we end up going out to see other places, obviously I'll bring you guys along. We'll film what we can. There'll be some stuff that I will be filming here, but the truth is it's going to be a bit sporadic now, and
the content's going to be a little bit different for the next few months.
For sure, yeah, and it will not be weekly, that is for certain. So I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
That's where we've been. So I know a few of you have been asking what's going on, and the truth is we've just had to take some time to process this, get ourselves in a mindset where we can start the ball rolling again and see what we can do, like I say, with the cards that we've been dealt. So I think that covers most of it. If you've got any questions, pop them in the comments. Obviously we reply to everybody. And if you've got any ideas or any people you want us to go and see and chat to, I'm not talking like an interview or anything, but you know, just a casual chat or meet up with some people. It might be fun for both parties. And
yeah, although we've only lived over in Bulgaria for a few months, this has been years of research and planning for us. So, but we still haven't shown you the full extent of our skills and knowledge that we are so desperate to apply. So if we've got the opportunity to share, exchange and help others, we'd really love that.
Yeah. So, sorry guys, but it is what it is, and I hope that you guys will stick with us. I'll keep you updated, certainly on things like Instagram and Facebook and stuff. We'll do more regular little updates that aren't worthy of a whole video. And I'll also do the community section on YouTube as well, because I know that a few of you will monitor that. So we'll keep you updated on there. I'll do occasional video updates, and when we get things happen, I'll keep you in the loop. But yeah, that's it, guys. I'm sorry this is a bit of a depressing one and a bit of a sad one, but we said we'd be honest with you, and we said we'd document every aspect of it, and the highs and the lows, and this is a low. If you're stuck around this long, listen to us warble on about oh woe is us, then thank you for watching. We really, really appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next one, whenever that is. Bye. Well, that went well, didn't it?